Hello, everyone. Monday was a pretty much overall dud for our overall market. I know that we rallied and we gapped higher and started off very strong, but the lack of follow through all intraday session long, along with the week final hour into the week close, is just a hallmark of this choppy tape. So we continue to stay under a neutral condition overall for most of our indexes. The NASDAQ, as you can see, volume was well below average, and if we look at the oscillators, they are still slowly rolling over, so they are heading lower. So it should continue to be hard for the market to make gains. But if the market does make gain while these oscillators move lower, then that increases the odds that we will resolve ourselves higher. So right now, we're in the middle of still a little bit of what I like to call a clusterfuck, and until we really get out of this choppy price range in between the February highs and March lows, we're not going to probably be able to gain any traction or momentum in many stocks. So just keep that in mind. Our Russell 2000 remains the only index under a sell signal. Intraday, it got up to 1240.63, but that still was below the intraday high day of 430.15. So the Nasdaq or the Russell 2000 overall still looking weak. However, the TZA instrument was able to knock me out of a quarter of my position. I had a quarter of my sell stop just below 1025. And where do you think TZA bottomed out today? Surprise, 1024. So since it hit 1024, sometimes when the low a day is hit, my stops don't get executed. Sometimes they do. This one did. So I'm out of a quarter TZA simply because I had a quarter of my sell stops. It's that simple. The next three sell stops, one level is right here, I think, or right there. The next level is right here, and then the next level is at low a day. So basically, the TZA short position is about 5% of the account capital with leverage in the cash account. That's a 15% short position. But the stochastics, RSI, TSV, and MACD still all look good. So right now, the market needs to prove to me that it wants to go higher. And you can see stochastics, RSI, TSV, and MACD on the Russell 2000 is absolutely ugly. So that's it for the indexes. FLT, I've already been shaken out of everything with that huge intraday shakeout. But on a closing basis, this is now a 50% sell signal. Final sell stop would be below this low a day. There is no way in hell I would hold it if it went below 153.65. So that should be your final sell stop. Then INTL, I'm already out of half of it. Whenever it lost its green BOP catalyst, I mean, it was looking really good when this move happened. And then BOP exploded the next day. So now what should have happened is BOP should have continued to build. And even though it was decreasing, it started to try to pick back up here on the 21st. And on the 22nd, I was really happy and was like, wow, man, INTL might really bust a move here. Old music video reference. And then INTL still looks good, but as it makes a new high, BOP is decreasing and getting weaker. And then we had this day losing green BOP. So the low a day became where half of it had to go. Move below it on the first. But today it's finally confirming a close below 20-day moving average. So what I would do is, if you don't want to sell it here and you believe it can bounce since right by the 50-day moving average, I would have 50% sell stop at 30.56 and the other half right here. So that's what I would do with INTL. For FLT, you could sell half of it if it moves below 155.75. You don't necessarily have to do it in the morning. You can let the stock prove its weakness. And then CMGE, I'm already out of all of it. I was knocked out of all of it here. I'm not quite sure where my final sell stop was, but if it was 2060, then maybe I don't understand why I was knocked out that day. But I was, so CMG I'm all out of. I'm not sure where I would have put my sell stop. It must have been, God, maybe it was on Friday. Oh well. Bottom line is I don't remember. So I was knocked out of CMG, but today, finally, it's a full sell signal. So if your sell stops didn't hit, the end of day sell stop is now hitting. So CMG is out of there. I have no new long positions. I flagged Charles Schwab. Excellent move. And look at FAS, the Direxion Financial Bull 3 times shares. Boom. Breakout above 50-day moving average. Pocket pivot point signal. I would go long the stock if it would have been confirmed in the perfect speculator or pre-perfect speculator scan. It's not. It's only my ETF scan, but all the oscillators are trending higher, so it looks good. And then CNSI, Converse Inc., that's looking good on the short term. We'll see how it wants to do. And then what I want to do is, before I go over anything, I put buy stops on Netflix. Netflix, I put buy stops just above this high day of this session. BLDR, I set buy stops because it has max green BOP. and the buy stop, excuse me, is above 1310. So 1311 is where my current buy stop is on Netflix. Let me just go ahead and give you the actual level. It's 572.51. And then VIMC, I really didn't think it was going to shoot its wad all in one day today. And even though BOP looked like it was falling back to, a lower level, I still thought as it based out, maybe BOP would grow, or if it based out, BOP would decrease, and I could get out of this position because I just don't like, I'd rather see it instead of going this way, I'd rather see it go this way. So I was kind of iffy, but still, it's a very good stock on, you can see the Zoom 3. You can see the big uptrend from July to September, and then low volume, big, huge consolidation, started to move up the right side, and then broke out on heavy volume, pulling back on light volume. So my buy stop was just above the last big up day's high a day, which was 14.18, so 14.19 was my buy stop. It hit that, went all the way up to 14.45, and it's looking good, but by the end of the day, it's pulled back, and BOP has decreased. So no matter what, my final sell stop is going to be at 12.80, but I might just put half of it at 12.80 and put half of it at 13.12, because I don't like any time a stock breaks out above key resistance and where I would think the stock's going to explode and it doesn't explode. Big red flag, especially with BOP coming in, so we got to worry about that. And then I'm going to take a big risky trade here. It's not that big risky, but even though in the shortest term, MACD is kind of trending a little bit lower, overall it's still uptrending. TSV is uptrending. RSI is slightly uptrending, and even though Gene's stochastic is pulling back a little bit, overall it's also uptrending. I have no idea when earnings are going to be, so it's kind of risky overall. But Gene already has been having a big habit of gapping higher overall, not lower, since its January lows when it decided to do a reverse split. How big was that reverse split? 1 for 5. So overall, Gene's chart pattern looks solid to me. Going to only risk 1% of my account capital. 464 limit, might do 473, so I will refuse to pay more than 473. And if we're wrong, 425 is the final level. So if it hits 424, we're all out. So I don't risk a whole lot. It is, like I said, a little bit risky. It's about 7-8%. But this one is in play in the chat rooms. A lot of people are following it. A lot of people are expecting to break out and do a huge run. So, if all the momentum guys get on it, this could be a good one. But overall, we got to be careful. Also, MCGC, that was supposed to be an end-of-day long signal. Like I said, 445 was my limit. Didn't hit the next day, 446. And as you can see, it's up again today. So this proves that with a hot chart, it's worth the play because, remember, this stock was bought out. It's supposed to be like 472, so it's almost there. But still, the gains were made. The max green BOP, the huge volume surge, and the follow-through. So overall, this play should have been played. I mean, I took it off, and it wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have gotten filled anyway. But the bottom line is that next time I'll make sure I go ahead and play something like this because they can move. And then intraday today, iCloud again. I tell you what, let's bring this up if I can. This would be the easiest one to bring up, iCloud. This was the perfect intraday stock overall. This stock found support on those morning lows perfectly and bounced off of it. It then held and supported out better, started to break out, came back down and tested that support around 11, 12-ish. And so just awesome stock. And then, of course, another breakout. Breaks out, continues to trend higher, finds support again at the support, then breaks out, continues to trend higher, finds multiple support here, breaks out, trends higher all day long, and finally by the end of the day a little bit of weakness is showing in. So I would have sold some into the close, and then I'd be holding some. But I did not play this intraday, but we gave it to everybody, and we told everybody to watch it. This was a hell of a stock the day before, as you can see here. iCloud is now up from about, when we alerted it, it was about 188. So iCloud has gone from 188 to 410, giving multiple entrances on support levels, and then today working on support and breakout. So intraday, you got to check our watch list. We post them every morning before the opening bell, and it's critical because iCloud, $1.88 to 410 in 2 days. That's not too bad overall. It's a little over, a 150% move and 170% overall from the low. So quite an impressive move overall by iCloud.